know, maybe I've seen you in another live because I feel like I've seen your spirit bubble before. But thank you for joining in Arizona. I love Arizona. Arizona is, I think my soul was there in a previous lifetime because I've only been once. But when I went, I knew it was a place for me. Even before I went, I always kind of just, my soul always just called to go to Arizona. And I plan on probably relocating there later on in life. But thank you, soulmates. And for those on YouTube, thank you for joining. And hello to everyone. For those that don't know me, those that are just joining for the first time, like Teresa, I am Keana Shatteen. I'm the alchemist of healing because my work is where healing meets truth and where silence finally turns into voice. Because everything I teach is about lived experience. It's not just theory, it's the actual fires that I had to walk through, the lessons that I had to learn to turn my ashes into light. So I speak and I teach from the space that most people try to avoid. We try to hide, like heartbreak, loss, silence, starting over, rebuilding. But I speak about it because that's where I found my strength, where I continue to find my strength. And my mission is to help you soulmates find peace that lasts, confidence that doesn't require anybody's approval, and most importantly, purpose that just feels like home. It feels fulfilling. So if you are going through a shift right now, soulmates, and if it feels like your life is changing faster than you can catch your breath, you're not crazy. You are not alone. And if you're experiencing relationship shifts, your money, finances look different, maybe your emotions feel like they're under review, you're right in the thick of the awakening, of the evolution, because that's exactly what it is. And right now, we're all evolving. And sometimes evolution means grieving who we used to be, who we no longer need to be, yet we're still not fully ready to step into the highest, newest version of us yet. See, the highest version of you, they know their worth, they know their value, they know their truth. And the highest version of us knows that we don't have to chase peace. See, we embody peace. And we no longer have to confuse comfort with alignment. So that's what we're talking about tonight, soulmates. Coming from a place of truth, speaking about evolution from a place of truth. Lisa says, I have a feeling and can feel God is about to shift some things in my life and I'm trusting. I know that's right, Lisa. I said the same thing. I told, oh my gosh, I told Tammy, for those soulmates that know, Tammy is also teacher here on Inside Timer. She and I still talk, even though she's all over the world, all the way on the other side of the world. We message each other regularly. And I told her the exact same thing. I said, I know something is getting ready to happen. I know there's a big shift that spirit is about to prepare me for. It's been preparing us for, but now we are about to receive. I believe if you've done the work and if you have the faith, then yes, something is about to shift. So before we dive in, soulmates, can we just take a moment to just ground ourselves here in this space? I want you to feel your feet on the floor, or if you're sitting, your bottom on the floor, the chair. Let's just take a breath. Because you arrived here today, soulmates. And maybe you just got off work or school, or maybe you're getting ready for work or school, or maybe you're just in a space where you're not really sure where you are right now, but you showed up today. So let us celebrate the space that we're in now, because this is our space, soulmates. And it's not about perfection, this is about peace. And right now, peace starts with being present in this space for truth, for healing, and for alignment. So let us inhale clarity, Exhale, confusion. Inhale, freedom. Exhale, fear. And allow your shoulders to just drop. And if you're like me, you probably do need to drop your shoulders because I realized for the last 2 weeks, I've been walking around like this, dealing with a lot, carrying a lot on my shoulders. So let us release this energy, soulmates, because we're safe. This is a safe space. And what we're going to do and receive tonight, hopefully, will give you the extra nudge, the extra push to keep going, to allow spirit to work for you. Because remember, nothing is happening to us, everything is happening for us. Even in the chaos and the overwhelm of it all, it's still happening for us. And this month's energy will show you everything that has been blocking the highest version of you. We are in Scorpio season, soulmates. And my birthday was last Tuesday. I'm just in the first deacon of Scorpio. But further we go into the season, the more intense this energy will feel. So don't be surprised if you start to rethink some things, or maybe you are already in the midst of that change. Because this energy is here to absolutely reveal to you what is blocking you. The way we love, who we love, how we communicate, what we tolerate, and what we're finally done pretending doesn't hurt us. November, this entire month is full of shifts. We have multiple planets going in retrograde. We have Scorpio season, which is all about transformation, rebirth, getting to the surface level of anything that has been shallow, that hasn't been authentic. We can outrun it. Thank you, Lisa. This is the opportunity now to get clear, get honest, figure out what it is that you need to do to realign yourself. It's time to strip away any illusions and come face to face with peace. Whether that's you having to pay the price by walking away from certain people, certain circumstances. If peace is what you desire, because peace is the highest form of wealth, then you have to prepare yourself. You have to be in a position to receive peace. You have to embody peace, meaning you have to walk, you have to live it, you have to let certain things go. So that brings me to theme number one. We're going to go over 9 themes that November is bringing. And the first theme for this month is truth and transformation, or truth and transparency, rather. And also, Mars is trining Neptune right now, which actually occurred yesterday on November 3rd. So, this basically has already set the tone for everything that is beginning that will follow. Because as we all know, Mars is the planet that is associated with action and drive. It was just in Scorpio. Now it has moved and is forming a trine with the Neptune, which is the planet full of intuition and spirit, but it's also a moment of harmony. And usually when we have a trine, when planets are trining, it simply just means that there's like a flow. The planets are working together. So they're trying to create ease between effort and faith. So this is actually the cosmic cue to move with intention, not to just react impulsively. It's about having head and heart alignment. And usually, when you're in the stillness and the quiet, when you can actually hear spirit, oftentimes it'll sound like acting differently this time, because spirit is trying to get you to see that certain instances, certain situations, certain experiences, certain people will come back into your life to see if you can handle this differently. Will you move differently, or will you continue to make the same decisions? So I want to ask you, soulmate, where are you moving from reaction instead of awareness? Where are you actually chasing clarity instead of just sitting still enough to receive it. Because, see, we always try to find the answers. That's human nature, right? Whenever we got a question, we want the answer. But the energy that we're in right now, soulmate, it's not always easy to get the answer right away. Sometimes you have to allow yourself to sit in it to actually receive the answer, to receive the message. And also, I want to ask you, soulmates, where have you been biting your tongue out of fear? I say this all the time because I know a lot of us are people pleasers. And I'm not judging, I'm not putting you down. I'm just speaking truth as somebody who was a notorious people pleaser, who oftentimes may still struggle with people pleasing because it's just in my nature to always want to give and pour and love and give my last to somebody else or bite my tongue just to appease somebody else. So, soulmates, where are you not speaking your truth? Because remember, that's the most loving thing you can do is speak your truth, especially to those that are closest to you. Because honestly, the truth wants to be felt. Your truth wants to be revealed. And if you're like me, soulmates, your truth becomes so loud and so unbearable that you can't outrun it. It screams at you to the point where you either act on it or it overwhelms you. But either way, the truth has to be revealed. And most often than not, it will reveal itself, whether you want to or not. Lisa says that's me and something I'm working on, not being a people pleaser anymore, pouring that same love back into me. Absolutely. We can't pour from an empty cup. We cannot pour from an empty cup. I had to remind myself of that because I've been doing a lot of pouring lately, a lot of pouring, and I've been feeling very much depleted and drained certain days. So I've been in a period of isolating intentionally to balance that energy, to actually sit with myself. So when you don't allow yourself to express your truth, when you're not honest with how you feel, like me, I get emotional. The tears start to reveal the truth because I can no longer hide from it. Maybe for you, soulmates, you tear up, or maybe you just go silent. But either way, you have this deep inner knowing that something needs to be revealed. The truth needs to be released. It needs to be seen. It has to be acknowledged. So the transits that we're in right now is the invitation to actually align our actions with our intuition. So we can stop confusing avoidance with peace. See, this is why it's so important to have a spiritual practice because your spiritual practice in connection with your boundaries, see, it allows you to be able to find that peace. So you no longer avoid that because spiritually you realize it's just not in alignment with you. Spiritually, the best thing we can do for ourselves is be truthful and completely honest about who we are. Hi, soulmates on YouTube. Thank you. And when you have a spiritual practice, a spiritual connection, you'll start to see that healed isn't always just about being calm. See, healing is not like oh, I just go to therapy or I just journal or I just pray. It's about being conscious of what drives you because healing doesn't look the same for everybody. And learning how to heal certain aspects of ourselves, the way we operate in our relationships, even healing our relationship with money, our relationship with food, any relationship outside of ourselves. This energy and this transit is asking us to actually look at that. We can't even outrun it because Scorpio energy is going to reveal it. The truth shall set you free, soulmate. Theme number two is emotional maturity. Now that Mars is in Sag, which will be opposing Uranus on today, actually, this energy has been fast. And I don't know about you, soulmates, but maybe some of you have been feeling a little off today. Maybe your energy has been out of balance. Maybe you haven't felt it. But typically, when Uranus is involved, things shift. It's always like a surprise, a shock, something that just happens when you're not ready for it. You may try to resist it, but There's nothing you can do but just allow it to unfold. So things are shifting quickly. And Mars is moving into Sag, which is another planet that's it's a fire sign. Sagittarius is also a fire sign. It's the sign of truth, freedom, and adventure. So again, we can't outrun this. But because it's going to oppose Uranus, the planet of disruption and surprise, maybe it's creating tension and chaos for you. Because see, these are two forces pulling you into different directions. It's kind of like your spirit saying, go forward, yet you have fear in the background saying, wait, but what if I fail? So what happens? What happens, soulmates, when you are out of alignment, when your soul is calling you to do one thing, but the monkey mind is telling you not to do it? What do? For me, soulmates, it creates resistance mentally, emotionally. Sometimes I get overwhelmed with my emotions. I have to be honest, last week, even though it was my birthday last Tuesday, last Thursday, I woke up and I just couldn't do anything except just lay there and cry because I knew the energy had to come out. It is Scorpio season. And I know I've been dealing with a lot. I've been shifting, I've been changing things, I've been moving around in my life that I have no control over. So last Thursday, I had to allow myself to feel all that I've experienced. I just lost my brother in love. It'll be 3 weeks tomorrow. And I say brother in love because even though I'm legally divorced, I still consider my mother, father, sister, brother in law as my family by love because the love never leaves. But he was 39 years young and he died from heart disease. He had a heart attack. And I have to be honest, it really triggered something in me, something that I didn't realize was still bothering me. I shouldn't say it was bothering me, but it triggered something in me because what it reminded me of was my mother, who transitioned in 1999, similarly to the same way my brother in law did, out of nowhere, had a heart attack, extremely young. And I guess I had to allow myself to feel that energy. Thanks, Lisa. Thank you, Laura, for the belated birthday wish. And the type of person that I am, my husband called me devastated 3 o'clock in the morning to tell me what happened to his brother. And all I can do is just hold space for him because I can't imagine how that feels. I don't have siblings. But if you're the oldest and you lost your younger brother, I can only imagine. And I hold space for his mom who lost her child. No parent wants to lose a child. I can't imagine how she feels. Plus, she lost her mother just 2 years ago and her husband little less than a year ago. So it's a lot that they're dealing with. And the type of person that I am, I instantly show up for people. I hold space for people. It's just what I do. And because I've dealt with so much grief and so much loss, I know how to support them. I know what needs to be done and also not to overwhelm them. But at the same time, I didn't allow myself the opportunity to feel that energy. So Thursday was the day where I had to allow the emotional outbursts to just be released. And I didn't call anybody, I didn't project on anybody. I just allowed myself to feel the energy. And I had to go to work that day, but I wasn't sure if I was going to do it. But I did manage to get dressed, and my manager said, "Don't even worry about it." Because for those that don't know, Soulmates, I bartend. So I was headed to the bar, but he said, "Don't worry about it. Just take the time for yourself." And I did need that. And I was just sitting in my car looking at a magazine. And just as I was looking at this magazine, I realized that there was a meditation center not far from where I was. As if spirit just knew exactly what I needed in that moment. So when I saw that, needless to say, I immediately went. It's called the School of Spirituality. For those that are in Illinois, if you're interested, it's actually located in Naperville. It's free. It's open from 9 to 5. And when I went in, I was so amazed. I just felt instantly lighter. Got a chance to tour the building, had the opportunity to sit in the sanctuary and meditate. And then it allowed me to release the last. few tears that I needed to release. And when I left, I felt 20 times lighter, 20 times lighter. It was the same feeling I had 2 years ago when I went to Sedona when I turned 40. And it was almost that same like energetic release. Because for me, I knew I needed that. Spiritually, I was feeling heavy, I was feeling drained. And I knew I couldn't get to Sedona. But I kept saying, Spirit, if I can just reenact Sedona here, that would do me so much justice. And I found the meditation center. So it allowed me to release those emotional outbursts in a healthy way because I realized that there were some dynamics that were surfacing. So maybe it's like that for you now, soulmates. Maybe there's some old dynamics showing up for you in your life. Maybe it's some things that you thought you had addressed, especially in relationships, because this transit right now is asking us. It is demanding that you can't keep trying to grow while clinging on to what hurts you. Being honest, once again, soulmate, myself personally, I had to realize I had to walk away from a relationship. Not so much walk away from it, but I had to basically cut the cord, so to speak, and just change this relationship to not a romantic relationship because I have to have different boundaries now because I realized that the energetic exchange that we had once had was no longer working for me. So I had to make that conscious choice because I realized I can't grow and be a better me if I'm trying to hold on to a relationship that is not really healthy for me and it's really draining me. So maybe you're experiencing that right now, soulmate. And this can even be people that are colleagues, it can be family members. Have you experienced people that just keep running back and forth, running in and out of your life? Or maybe there's conversations that you're avoiding, parts of yourself that you still abandon just to please somebody else, just for somebody else's approval. I had to learn this lesson the very hard way. In love, family, in moments where I wanted peace, yet I was still dealing with chaos. And sometimes chaos, it can be tricky because sometimes chaos may not look as bad. So you think it's okay. I can just deal with it. I can handle this, right? But if it continues to happen, when does it get better? If it continues to be chaotic, how do you change? How do you shift? See, now we try to normalize chaos. Now we're trying to make toxic seem safe. We have to be honest about that, soulmates. Because see, the truth is, emotional maturity means that you get to choose peace. When your ego wants to prove a point, it's realizing that walking away is not a sign of weakness. It doesn't make you weak. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is just walk away. Utilize your wisdom because that's what an emotionally mature person does. Hey, Chris, how are you, King? Good evening. I don't have to argue to be right anymore. In fact, I don't argue at all. I just ask questions to make people start to just see things differently. That's all. And I can walk away. I don't have to have the last word anymore. I can let people be at peace with whatever they choose to say. So if this week is making you feel uncomfortable and it's only Tuesday, welcome to the Great Awakening. I'll keep saying it because that's what this is. But it's in the discomfort, usually, is where the change occurs because the discomfort is actually asking for you to change it, it's asking for room to breathe, it's asking to be acknowledged. It's just like physically. If something is ailing your body, you're not supposed to ignore it, right? At least you shouldn't ignore it. I will say that my brother in love, he ignored it because he was having heart attack symptoms the entire day. And this is how the ego gets us in trouble because we're so stubborn and we have a ton of reasons why we won't listen to our bodies and our emotions, our intuition. Our gut tells us what's right and what's wrong. But we'll think of a ton of reasons to ignore our own intuition when our body is literally screaming at us to go seek help, to take time out, to go rest. And we'll ignore it anyway. And I told you at the beginning of the year, 2025 is going to be a year of completions. It's a 9 year. And this year is not like anything we've ever seen before. This year has not been easy. I never imagined that I would lose my brother-in-law. Like I just never would have imagined him. He was such a good dude, just such a nice guy, 39. And I'm just like, wow, it just helped me truly see how life is so short that I can't waste another minute in a situation that is not in alignment with me, in a relationship, in a space, or anywhere that is not truly fulfilling me. Because if this is my last day on earth, soulmates, I want to live in peace, love, and fulfillment. And I don't know if today is my last day, just like you don't. Just like my brother in love, Uncle Phil. Call him Uncle Phil because that was my son's uncle. And Uncle Phil, like our Fresh Prince. So he was Uncle Phil. So I think about Uncle Phil and I think about him. And if he had known that was going to be his last day, I'm quite sure he would have made different choices. He would have made different decisions. And see, that's just the thing about life. Sometimes you just don't have another day or another minute or even another breath. So, what can we do today in this moment here, right now? So, that brings me to theme number 3 for this month: stability and grounding. For those that don't know, soulmates, we do have a super full moon coming up in Taurus tomorrow, November 5th, or it could be today, depending on where you are. Yes, Millie. I said Uncle Phil. He wasn't my uncle, but I called him Uncle Phil because he's my husband's brother, my son's uncle. So he was always Uncle Phil because that's who he is, Uncle Phil, and will always be Uncle Phil. So this full moon in Taurus, soulmates, I like to consider it as a spiritual exhale. And if those of you that are not familiar with astrology, Taurus is actually the opposite sign of Scorpio, which means that it's about balance. Whenever there's a planet opposite the other planets, it's almost like the duality. So for me, for example, I'm a Scorpio, very much deep, can be emotional, but very analytical. Sometimes I can overthink. So the Taurus energy balances me because Taurus is an earth sign. So it's about stability. So me having a balance because I have to have that duality. Otherwise, I'll be too stuck in my head. And I have to have that balance. So this full moon is a spiritual exhale. Because keep in mind, Mars is doing its thing and Uranus is shaking things up, shaking shit up because things have to shift, soulmates. So then that means the moon is going to help us find our footing again. Remember, every time there's a full moon, there's a release. We get to let something go. Full moons always bring things to light. They illuminate what's ready to be released. So this Taurus full moon energy is all about peace. It's about safety. It's also asking about stability financially, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Taurus full moon is asking, what are we building right now, soulmates, that's actually going to last? What is the foundation? And what is actually making you feel safe right now? Are you honoring your physical and your emotional needs? Or are you just ignoring them because you're trying to be productive or you're just trying to keep performing? I just told you, soulmates, now is not the time to ignore your body. Now is not the time to cheat yourself because we only get one body, one life, one soul, this incarnation. So treat it like it's the most precious commodity that you have because it is. It's your life. It is so precious. There's no price tag on it. So why then do we devalue ourselves when it comes time to taking care of ourselves? Because guess what, soulmates? As much as we try to pour into somebody else, and as much as we try to show up for other people, if we're not physically here to do it, then there's nothing that can be done. So you either take care of yourself now, or you try to support them on the other side. But you have to be honest. And we have to be honest, soulmates, about our finances right now. I know I'm not the only one that's feeling this crunch financially. I'm hearing a lot of people are experiencing this. And I'm bringing this up because We know that today is the 1 year anniversary from the day where I think a lot of people this time last year were devastated. They were nervous, they were overwhelmed. And I remember the collective energy on November 5th, 2024. And thereafter, people were on edge, they were emotional, they were afraid. Well, now here we are, a year later. What have you noticed changing since this time last year? This is why I keep bringing these things up, because this is a 9 year. We have to think differently now about the way we're building financially, the way we're building our stability, even the people around us, because certain people can block your financial blessings, they can block your money flow. So if you're overspending, if you're trying to overgive to somebody, if you're constantly loaning out money, or maybe you just like to spend because spending is just something you do. It's just something that was just always innate. I'm saying this as a former shopaholic who, because I was so powerless over my emotions, I shopped to try to numb what it was that I was truly avoiding. Hey, Jacqueline, how are you, beautiful? So I'm saying this as somebody who's not judging you, soulmates. I'm saying this as somebody that's lived that experience. So now I'm very conscientious about the way I spend my money, because the American dollar is not stretching anymore the way that it used to. Because inflation is rising. Everything is increasing. So we have to look at the way we're spending, look at the way we're building our money, because that's part of your stability, right? If you financially aren't stable, then what's going to happen? Emotionally, you're going to feel overwhelmed. Physically, you're going to feel overwhelmed. And I'm not here to shame you, but I just want to talk about what the balance looks like. So thinking about how we ground ourselves. Again, this is earth energy. So utilize this full moon to connect with earth, Gaia. Go outside and ground if you can. Walk outside barefoot. Just be in nature. Rest, breathe, hydrate, drink water. Drink water. And most importantly, set boundaries. I've had to set a boundary. I've had to set a boundary recently that I've never had to set before. I'm somewhere on the other side of town. People don't even know where I'm located at right now, because I realized I had to remove myself from certain areas in Chicago. I just had to do what was best for me. Did I imagine I would be like this? No. My son knows where I'm at. He's fine. And that's all that matters for me. But I had to set a boundary for me, because who else is going to do it, soulmates? Nobody's going to take care of you the way you're going to take care of you. This is where real healing begins. And it's not in the highs, but it's in the habits. It's in the way we talk to ourselves. It's in the way we treat ourselves. It's the way that we honor and respect ourselves. And that means your word has to be bond with yourself. My word is bond when I say that I'm setting boundaries and I'm not allowing anybody to take me out of my space, then I mean that. And if I have to block you, or if I have to cut you off, or if I just have to remove you completely, then I will, because I say what I mean and I mean what I say. And my word to me is the most important thing above anything. So we have to set boundaries, soulmates, but we have to hold ourselves accountable to the boundaries that we set. But please remember, soulmates, that peace is all about what you make it to be. And it's never going to be an absence of problems, because that's just unrealistic. Life is life, and life is life and fast. So we have to be very conscientious, very intentional about the way we protect the peace. When life is life, and there's enough going on as it is, I don't need anything or anybody else to add more chaos. There's enough as it is. So remember that peace isn't the absence of problems, it's the presence of perspective. How do you look at situations? Like, for example, for me, the things I've been experiencing lately, the average person would think I'm crazy. Or how are you dealing with that? And I'm taking it one day at a time. I'm taking it all in stride, because I know I'm at peace. And most importantly, I know how strong I am. So this is just a period that Spirit has put me here for a reason. And I've never lost faith in what it is that I do. And I never lost faith in the divine. So I know that I will always be taken care of. And that brings me to theme number 4: love, intimacy, and shadow healing. Yes, we are doing shadow healing in Scorpio season. Of course, we are. Because that's what Scorpio season will reveal: the shadows, what's lurking under the dark, what's the subterranean. It is going to get deep. Maybe your dreams have been really odd lately. I've been having some very vivid dreams. Matter of fact, I had a dream last night. And the last thing I remember when I woke up this morning was the number 48. And I haven't had a chance to really sit with that yet or determine what that means, but I still remember it. So think about that. A lot of times when we are being faced with the shadow, we don't want to see it. So it'll show up subconsciously. It'll show up in your dreams. It'll show up in your waking life in real time, whether you want to accept it or not. So on November 6th, Venus is moving into Scorpio, which means you have Mercury in Scorpio, Venus is in Scorpio, and we're about to be going into Mercury retrograde on the 9th. But let me start with Venus and Scorpio because this is about love getting real. It's time to be honest. Again, we're in Scorpio season. Scorpio is all about honesty, it's about authenticity, it's about the truth. So this energy is going to be about your relationships, not only with other people, but the relationship with yourself, which is the most important relationship. If you ask me, that's the most important relationship you could have is the one with yourself. So Venus and Scorpio is going to have you questioning yourself, asking you, making you review these relationships, relationship with people, yourself, your self-worth, pleasure. When Venus moves into Scorpio, the sign of depth, loyalty, and emotional truth, absolutely things are going to get deep. So if you're in a relationship right now, don't be surprised if your conversations get a little deep. They may get a little emotional. And it's nothing that you can't handle because if this is the person that you love and they love you, then you'll get through it. Because see, Scorpio, we're not here for surface level. We don't do fake, we don't do shallow. I'm saying this is me. I can't deal with anybody that's not real and authentic in the way they show up. And I love unconditionally, meaning I don't care who you are. If I can support you, I can. But if I don't feel that in return, if I'm not receiving that, then I'm going to question that. I'm going to absolutely challenge that because I'm a Scorpio and I want soul level connection. And I don't mean physically, I mean soul level connections with people and spaces and places that makes me feel good. So deep. It enhances my life. Hey, Jacqueline. Let me look at the comments. The spiritual meaning of the number 48 is primarily associated with stability and abundance and the manifestation of material rewards through hard work and determination. It is seen as a message from the divine that your efforts are supported and that prosperity is on the horizon. Thank you, beautiful. Well, you know what, Jacqueline? That explains why I had that dream. See, soulmate, I love it. I just love spirit. You can make this up. Absolutely, because I have been definitely dealing with a lot in my personal life around stability, abundance. So thank you. And thank you, Spirit, for reminding me of that and letting me know that I'm okay. I'm getting ready to step into it. Thank you. Hello. Is it ER? I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, but thank you. Good morning. So, yes, that's Scorpio energy. It's exposing all the patterns, all the things that we've routinely done in our relationships, in the way we show up in love. It's time for us to review them. This is basically where love is going to meet reflection, where you can no longer hide from what your heart truly craves, what your heart truly craves. It's not about obsession, it's not about power, it's not about control, it's about emotional honesty. And maybe you will notice some of your old relationship wounds coming to surface, like feelings of betrayal, maybe jealousy, or maybe you're just longing for somebody. Maybe you don't have a connection, but maybe you're feeling called to be in a connection. Or maybe you have a fear of losing somebody. See, that's what this energy is doing because it's the invitation to look at the shadow side of love and ask, am I loving from a healed space or I'm just loving from history? Am I just loving from what I thought I knew about love? Am I in this relationship with this person because this is what all that I know? Is it healthy for me? Or am I truly ready for something more and something better, something different? And I don't even want to say better, but something different because people are not good nor bad, but certain people just can't hold space for you the way that you show up, especially when it comes to emotional maturity. Because most often than not, most of us lack emotional maturity because they never really taught us how to be emotionally mature. Emotional intelligence wasn't even a thing that existed prior to what, the last 5, 10 years, if that. So when we're in relationships and we're lacking emotional intelligence, we're lacking the emotional maturity to show up for ourselves and the people that we're in connection with. I was in a situation with a person that struggled with his emotions and he would get angry and then he would project. And I, the person that I am, could feel that energy. I'm like an energetic sponge, and it takes a lot for me to block it out, to block out certain energies because it overwhelms me. And I realized that in this dynamic, you're not emotionally mature enough to handle your own emotions, yet alone hold space for me. Though I'm not going to project, I am going to have some emotions. And I'm going to cry before I ever get angry. Because one thing about me, I'm going to shed some tears. I'm a Cancer moon, Scorpio sun. I'm all about water. But if you're comfortable with emotions, then tears wouldn't bother you, right? How many of us get uncomfortable whenever we see somebody cry? And be honest if you do. I'm not judging you. But do you ever ask yourself why it makes you uncomfortable when you see other people cry? Usually, when you're uncomfortable with somebody else's emotions, it's because you're uncomfortable with your own emotions. So if you've been holding on to connections that cost you your peace, this is the moment, soulmates, to release them with compassion, like I had to do. I realized that, you know what, this is just not going to work like I thought it would. That's okay. I wish you nothing but the best. So much love and light. No hard feelings. Release and let it go. Because when you're full and you're in love with yourself, and when you connect with somebody else and they can't quite meet you where you are on that level, then you can walk away with compassion because you're already full of love. So it was nothing that they were giving you or taking away from you because you already have it within. See, this was the lesson that I really had to learn how to develop because whenever I would end a relationship, it used to feel like the end of the world for me. And for those that know that read Healing Out Loud, you know that most of the things I endured, it was because of relationship losses. So for some of you, this energy will bring maybe new forms of intimacy. And I don't mean physical intimacy, but I just mean in terms of finding ways to be intimate with maybe your work or the people around you, because intimacy is truly just a bond, a connection with someone. And it can be just a verbal connection, being intimate with somebody, feeling emotionally safe enough to open up. Because Scorpio season is not here to end things. See, Scorpio, we're here to transform. This is why I'm a transformational speaker. This is why I do what I do, because I want us to transform to be the highest possible version of us that spirit is calling us to be. And when it starts with us, then it shows up in our love, it shows up in our connections. And the only way this can happen is after you've learned to make peace with whatever it is that you've been trying to bury, whatever it is that needs to come up to be transformed. See, you you alchemize that energy. You turn it into something more powerful, more positive. Because that's what I learned to do. After all the pain, all the heartbreak, all the tears, all the disappointments, I found love again. I learned how to love me and found a deeper connection with my creator, with the divine. And that gives me so much peace because I learned how to bury, or I learned how to let go of whatever it was that I had been trying to bury. I've been trying to bury the fact that people were disappointing me and hurting me. And I'm trying to show up as the best version of me. So I'm not going to stoop low. I'm not going to meet them where they are because that's beneath me. And spirit is calling me to do more. I'm on a whole nother level consciously. So I can't stoop low. So the best thing that I can do is just walk away because that's what healed looks like. See, this is the part of healing that it won't allow you to keep pretending. We can't keep performing. We can't pretend like we're strong soulmates because you can't outrun yourself. So you have to allow yourself to say, hey, I'm not okay today. Last week, I had a conversation with my aunt, and for the first time, I guess I just never realized how unsupported I was feeling from family and friends in this work that I've been doing, and from all my soulmates that are here that have been following me from the very beginning of this. I've been on Inside Timer now for 2 years. Oh my gosh, it feels like just yesterday actually. But those that know, I came on Inside Timer. I was grieving a relationship, but I've grown and realized that my superpower was the way that I show up and heal and teach other people from my mistakes and my lessons. And I became a teacher on here, and I've been doing this for a little over a year now. And I realized that my family doesn't really show up like that, nor my friends. The friends that I've had for years that I've known since forever. And I had a conversation with my aunt, and I said, I just realized that I've been doing a lot out here lately. I spoke at a statewide conference a couple of weeks ago, and nobody in the family showed up. Nobody asked how it was. Nobody congratulated me. And it is what it is, but I see it now. And she couldn't say anything. She kept trying to come up with excuses about, well, maybe people are just busy and everybody got things going on. And towards the end, it was just like, I just don't know what to say. And it is what it is, Lisa. It's not sad. It just is. But it was a moment of truth for me because I didn't realize it. And I'm like, wow, huh. And yes, most of the people in my family bought my book, but I don't know if everybody read it. Or I haven't heard any feedback. Nobody has said anything. I've asked them to leave reviews. I get nothing but crickets. And it is what it is. Right. And I realize that I get more support from soulmates outside of my family, soulmates out here in the collective. People show up for me because this is my soul family. And I realize that that's how spirit works. And it took a minute to accept it. But when I think about all that I've endured this entire year, the people that showed up the most for me were strangers. I mean, people that I had just met, but they opened up their space to me. They opened up their hearts, their homes. They showed up and poured into me. Even the relationship I was in, we're not together anymore, but he showed up and he supported me, my dreams and professionally. And I just realized that no, I don't have that. And it is what it is. Like they say, you can't choose your family. But I felt free enough to tell her that. And by the time the conversation was over, I felt at peace because I realized that maybe I should have said that. Maybe I had been holding that in. And truthfully, that probably just would have created resentment. Strangers will always show up. Strangers will show up. Strangers will become your best friends before those that you consider your friends. And I'm just grateful for you, soulmates, because that's what this energy revealed to me. And of course, when I had the conversation with her, it was like, no, it was what it was. And I think I even got a little emotional on the call with her because it wasn't so much about them not showing up for me in the sense that, yes, I would love for y'all to show up for me, but don't show up for me when I'm gone. See, give me my flowers while I'm here. And I thought about Uncle Phil because people are gonna show up to his memorial. Oh, he was such a good man. Oh, I loved him. But did you show up for him when he was alive? Did you show up for him and his wife when they were trying to make ends meet, when they were trying to build their brand, their business, when he was looking for work? Did you show up then? See, I don't need anybody to show up for me once I'm gone. Show up for me now. Give me my flowers while I'm here. Just like I would do for you, just like I do for people. And that's all I was just trying to get them to see. Because we love to show up when chips are down. But when we are rising and when we are elevating, well, where is everybody to celebrate you? I just noticed that no, nobody is there. And a friend of mine asked me at the day of the conference, because I did have a friend that was going to show up, but he wasn't feeling well. And he said, anybody else come? I said, no, they didn't. Now that you mention it, they didn't. I guess I've just gotten so used to them not being here that, oh, they're really not here. I have a Survivors Day event that I'm hosting on November 22nd. And for those that are not aware, I'm a suicide survivor, suicide advocate, mental health advocate, emotional health advocate. I teach people about emotional intelligence, how to handle their emotions, their triggers, and how to show up differently. And I'm hosting this event because Survivors Day is actually a day that we address every Saturday before Thanksgiving for those that have lost people by suicide. And this is my first time hosting this. I'm actually co-hosting this event with another young lady who lost her daughter by suicide. I'm not expecting my family to show up because it's all the way out in the suburb, but also people don't have the same heart. They don't have the same passions. They don't love the way that I love. And I can appreciate that. I understand that because I know I have a higher calling and a higher purpose. But those that believe in advocating and speaking up and saving lives will show up. So those that need to be there will be there. And I'm grateful for that. And I'm going to continue to do this work. But that was a moment of truth for me. Told you so, Maze. This Scorpio season, this energy has been very transformative. We all have a purpose. Yes. Hey, Kay, your family is most definitely lurking. They probably know your work better than you think. Not sure why support can be expressed openly instead of silently. Again, it goes back to the silence thing, Kay. Thank you for sharing that. It is so true. Why is it like that? They rather, and it's funny you say that because see, they'll call me to talk about somebody else in the family. You'll call me to gossip. But when it's time to show up and celebrate the good, well, where are you? See, this is why I have to learn how to set boundaries. And I had to remove myself. Because see, that's low vibrational toxic energy. And truthfully, that's a family trauma that we need to stop. I don't need you calling me gossiping. Because if there's something going on with somebody in the family, let's help them. Hold space for them. Don't talk about them. Just like if I'm going through something, I don't need you to call talking about me. Help me. This is what love looks like. And this is what I had to realize. And I'm healing, I've been healing ancestral wounds. We all are. This is what this energy is calling for. That's exactly what's coming up. So emotionally, I had to express that because see, that's part of emotional maturity is being able to speak from a place where I'm not attacking anybody, but my emotions feel a certain way because I love her and I love us. I love my family and I won't stop loving them. But it is disappointing that you show up differently when there's things to celebrate. When I'm doing positive things, you show up differently. But 6 years ago, when I had my attempt, it was such a shock. And why could you do this? How did you do this? Because nobody ever did you ever call and ask and check on me? I know I look like I'm fine on the outside because that's the way God created me. But just like most of the people in the world, we love to judge a book by its cover. We don't know what people are dealing with on the inside. So let's just stop and check. Hold space for people, especially those that hold space for others, because healers need healing too. Melissa says, my family is definitely not there for me when I'm around. They expect me to be there in every way for them. That's definitely not going to happen the next time I'm there. I just moved almost by myself. Where the H? If are they even asking, how are you doing? I get it. I get it, Melissa. I understand. And I know everybody is going through something. I get it. I understand it. My aunt got married last year. She planned a reception this summer. It was a beautiful reception. But she did admit that she has not read my book. even though she's had it since March. That's neither here nor there. It's not a priority. It is what it is. I accept it. I just said okay, but also too, I do believe that when it comes to dealing with emotions, when it comes to mental health, when it comes to suicide, people are still afraid to even talk about it, yet alone read about it. But my story is beautiful. I've survived. It's not a tragic story. I'll show you the book, Soulmates. I put this cover on there for a reason to show people that I have survived. This is what healed looks like. But people judge my book by its cover because, oh, dare I be too sexy? But this the God in me. Like, this is what spirit created. So yes, let me show the world that yes, this is what it looks like when you survive suicide and you have admitted that you were powerless over your emotions and you have to let go of certain traumas, grief, pain from the past so that you can show up being the brightest, most beautiful version of you. Because when I look at this cover, all I see is the divine being of God. God created this. So why wouldn't I smile boldly and proudly and show people that I am happy, healed, confident, sensual, all of the things. And I can still be a spiritual woman and still look like this and still have a lot to talk about in my book. And I had to share that because I actually had a conversation with somebody earlier. I just totally got off topic, soulmates. But this is what this energy is calling for. So let's get it. I had to say that because earlier today I sold a book. I went to the meditation center again, and one of the volunteers was there, and he's like, I would have never bought a book like this before, but you're so interesting and you're so deep. He said, I would have never bought a book with a cover that looks like this. I love it. I love it because he's old school, is what he said. And I'm like, okay. And I had to just tell him, that's the problem with this world. We love to judge a book by its cover. So because I look like that, what does that mean? That you can't read it when it clearly says healing out loud? Yes, Melissa. So even last night when I was bartending, and I always put the book up on the bar because as far as I know, wherever I go, I heal people. So if I can pour you a drink, then absolutely, I'm going to create a safe space because everybody loves to come to the bar and they love to spill. And I had the book on the bar, and the gentleman said, oh, yeah, I don't want to see anything about that. I don't want nothing to do with healing. He said, I don't want to heal. I said, why not? You're okay being, because I'm pretty sure he was 60 plus. I said, you okay being 60 something years old and you still not the highest version of you? Okay, to each their own. But for me, it's not going to suffice. Because if I had never healed, see, I wouldn't be here. If I had never healed, see, I wouldn't have been able to hear the call from spirit that says you had to write this book and share your story to save somebody else's life. See, that's what healed looks like. But if you haven't healed yet, then you're suffering in silence and you're hiding from your truth and you're running from your shadow and you don't want to see yourself. So you're going to avoid it and you're going to pretend and you're going to keep trying to fake it until you make it. But faking until you make it doesn't work anymore because everybody is not making it while they're faking it. Because this is not the time to fake it. This is not the time, soulmates. You have to love yourself through your own evolution because that's what this time is calling for. Let me just pause, Lisa. Thank you. You said preach. I laugh because everybody keeps saying I'm a preacher. My friend said, why you keep preaching to me? I'm not preaching. I don't think I'm preaching. I'm just speaking truth. And if that's preaching, then so be it. So I receive that. And I want us to just take a breath for a second and let's just honor whatever it is that's been trying to keep us small or who's been trying to keep us small. And if what I'm sharing tonight is resonating with you, soulmates, and you feel like this work is feeding your spirit, then remember that this is an energetic exchange. Reciprocity is sacred. So if you are moved to donate, please do so. Continue to share, continue to send words of gratitude. All of that pours back into me and is well received. And most importantly, know that whatever you donate, it allows me to keep this space alive for all of us, because this is only the beginning. 2026, I will be traveling this world doing what I do, and that's touching souls with my words, saving lives. So continue to donate, continue to share, buy the book, whatever the case may be, soulmates, because the time is now. And what I'm preaching needs to be received, because we have a lot of ignorant, unhealed souls out here that are trying to outrun themselves. And life is just too short for that. So if you feel called, soulmates, you can donate here, outside of Inside Timer, Cash App, PayPal, whatever the case may be. I have all of that in my handle. I think I can even put it here too. Um, but yes, this energy is a sacred exchange. So thank you, soulmates, for allowing me to share this space with you. And for those that don't know, I did just turn 42 last Tuesday. It feels like it was longer than that. This has been a very long week. But yes, I just celebrated my 42nd birthday on October 28th. And I'm so grateful for that. Because 6 years ago, I didn't even want to be here. I didn't even want to be here. So for me to actually see my birthday and to see 42 was a blessing. It is such a blessing. And it also made me think about my mother, who transitioned at 43. God willing, I get to outlive her. Although that wasn't a lot of life to outlive. But when I get closer to that age, it makes me think about that. Oh, Millie, you can actually go on my website, or you can also get it from Amazon. In Canada, you can still get it there as well. Thank you, Cynthia, for the donation. Um, for those that are new to me, please follow me. I just hit the card to follow me. Then you can also find my website and all of my other information in there. I'll even put it in here as well for the website. Rose says, I wish I could donate, but so grateful I finally reconnected with you. Synchronicity, exact message I needed to hear. Happy birthday with love, another one-on-one. Please reach out, Rose. I reach out anytime. My calendar is up to date. Feel free to do so. Hey, peace. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Queen. It is so wonderful to see you all. Thank you, Millie. I appreciate that. And so, Maze, thank you all for showing up, because I know I'm not the only one that's affected by this energy. How many of you are feeling like your life is just every day, it feels like it's something new? Every day you feel like, I literally woke up last week and said, I feel like my life is a movie. I truly feel like I am watching somebody else's life from a screen. Kid you not. But I'm just so happy to be alive to experience it, that it's just it's wonderful. It is, because no matter what happens, I still have a life that I could choose to live any way I want. Even when on my worst days, if all I can do is just lie in the bed and cry, I'm still alive to cry. And even when I was going through my release, I call it a release ceremony, because that was just me allowing the energy to flow. And I needed the rest, because I had been doing so much, going, moving stuff just nonstop. And going to the gym has been able to keep me grounded as well. Physical fitness really is not even about the physical fitness for me. It's really about what it does for me emotionally and mentally. But physically is helping too. But that has been keeping me grounded, because daily life is shifting, soulmates. And I know I'm not the only one. So happy to be in my new community. I just bought my house and sold my other one. Such a toxic community with people that talk about each other. Terrible. Such a happy, horrible feeling. It is, Melissa. Because why are we talking about people? What is this doing for us? Me talking about this person is doing what for me in this moment? How am I helping them or helping me? See, this is how we're wasting time and energy. Because the time and energy that I'm wasting talking about somebody else, I could be feeding myself, feeding my mind, body, and soul, or I could be trying to help them instead of talking about them. And I was talking to somebody early today, and they said, I believe that hating is a form of mental illness. And I don't know if it's hating or if it's just people don't realize that their jealousy and envy shows up because they feel like they're lacking something personally for themselves. So it's hard for people to show up and celebrate you when they don't have it within. So how can I be happy for you winning when I feel like I'm losing? I'm not happy. So I can't show up and be happy for you. So yes, I'm gonna be jealous. I'm gonna be envious. I'm gonna find so many reasons not to like you or not to support you. Like I'm saying this because this is what I've experienced. I've gotten so many looks from my book cover. I've had people look, act like they don't see it. Usually it's females, but that's neither here nor there. I know I have a mission and a purpose. So let me continue doing what I'm supposed to do and block out all of the hate, all of the toxicity, all of the negative energy, all of the things that are just not helping me. It's not bringing me any closer to spirit in my purpose. Because the more time I spend trying to prove my worth and my value is the less time I'm spending on saving a life that needs to be touched. Quite a few people at the conference a couple of weeks ago, but I met a mom who had a 30 something year old son, African American woman, and she bought my book after she saw me speak, and she said my son is dealing with a lot. He's depressed, and sometimes he talks about ending it all. So I appreciate that she's not taking that lightly, but he too has boys, if I'm not mistaken. And I told her, I said, thank you, first of all, mom, for showing up for your son, because there's a lot of us that will pretend like we don't see when somebody is suffering, because we have people that are suffering right in front of us and we will act like we don't see it. I'm not built like that, soulmate. I cannot pretend not to see it. I feel it too much to pretend. So I appreciate that she did that for her son. And I told her to have her son reach out, follow me on YouTube, because I know a lot of men, it's not easy for them to actually try to ask for help. And then I'm a woman. So, but I hold space for people like that because I was somebody like that. Because it's hard to turn to sometimes family and friends when you're struggling, when you're suffering. And sometimes they're probably the reason why. So you're not going to talk to them about how you really feel because we're afraid. We are trying to protect them at our own expense. So what do? We just hold it in. And we can't do that anymore. This is why I told the mom last week to have her son reach out, definitely have him read the book and do the work. It's a workbook. It's my story, but it's questions and it's a workbook for you soulmates. Because see, I've done this work and I'm using my story to show you why I had to do the work. Because if I've survived suicide, there's nothing else to do but heal. You just have to heal now. And I don't want anybody to get to that space. I don't want anybody to get to that space. And that's why I say we have to be honest. We have to be real about what it is that we're building right now. We have to be serious about our foundations and our stability. Because when those things are threatened and at risk, then everything is out of balance. Think about your chakras. If that root chakra isn't intact, then you won't be able to open up your sacral or your solar plexus. And you definitely won't be able to get to the heart chakra if you're not rooted and grounded. None of these, especially the third eye or your highest self. So this is why I do this work. I heal hearts. I'm not a therapist. I let the therapist deal with your brain. I heal hearts and souls because that's where it starts. And for those that just joined, thank you for being here, soulmates. I've been sitting with this energy for weeks. It's been intense. I didn't even know if I was going to go live today because I had to get up and move and change some things around, but I showed up today because that's what life does. It'll show up, it'll rearrange things. Everything that you thought was stable, soulmates, is probably shaken up. If it hasn't been, like I said before, anything that's not built on a solid foundation is crumbling, and it's crumbling quickly. And now that a lot of things have crumbled, if you've allowed it to, you might be in a rebuilding phase like I was, like I'm still doing. Maybe that's your family, your love, or maybe your purpose. Maybe all of this is starting to look different now. I know for me, after loss, things do look different. Whether that's a loss of a relationship, it's the loss of a job, things look different. And then that's the thing about Scorpio season. See, Scorpio season is going to teach you about deaths and endings, transformations. They're never separate because every time there's an ending, there is always a new beginning. And when this life ends, in this incarnation, you're reborn to the next life. At least that's what I believe. They they're one and the same. They're part of the same breath. Transformations, endings. That's the only way things can transform. Is in the midst of the ending, in the midst of the chaos, in the midst of the uncertainty. Because when things are safe and content, well, you're not going to change anything because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So Spirit said, well, let me break it so that you can fix it, so that you can heal it. Theme number 5, heart openings and humanity reset. So we have the sun opposing Uranus on November 10th. Scorpio sun opposing Uranus, planet of disruption. So when the sun, see the sun, when you think about your sun sign soulmates, that represents yourself, your identity. So for me, I'm a Scorpio. So now this energy, I'm facing off against Uranus, which is the rebellion, the awakener. So even though I'm a Scorpio, that does not mean that you too won't feel this energy because we all are feeling it. So don't be surprised if there's a plot twist that comes up around the 10th or maybe within the next couple of weeks. While also Mercury will be in retrograde. It'll be retrograding in Sagittarius. It'll be going from Scorpio back into Sag. So that starts on November 9th, from the 9th through the 29th. Mercury's in Sagittarius, fire energy. But Mercury is the planet associated with communication. So expect communication to be a little bumpy, a little crazy. Expect some people maybe from your past to resurface. And if that should happen, soulmates, ask yourself why this person is resurfacing. Because usually when spirit allows people, experiences, and circumstances to resurface, it's the opportunity it's really a test to see how you're going to do this time. So if that ex reaches back out, soulmates, what are you going to do? Are you going to allow them back in? And I'm not telling you you shouldn't, but I'm just saying, if that were to happen, that's what the Mercury retrograde is going to get you to see. In terms of finances, it's a review, it's a look back, it's a rewind. So we have that going on while also Scorpio sun and Uranus, they're battling each other. Basically, it's an opposition. So that means there's a contrast between energies. So it's shaking up our comfort zone, yet that's the only way the truth can enter. Because just because it's comfortable doesn't necessarily mean that it's actually truthful and it's actually where you're meant to be and who you really are. Because I was comfortable, but I was comfortable in a place that wasn't meant for me. So I had to step out of that space. See, the universe is rearranging what's no longer aligned with the next level of freedom, flexibility, peace, love for us soulmates. We can't stay 10 toes in the old life when we keep saying we want more. How bad do you want it? Spirit is asking. In fact, Spirit is not even asking, Spirit is forcing you. You're either going to accept this change or you're going to fight against it and resist. And that's when the chaos and that's when the emotional and the mental overwhelm is going to show up. Because we don't often allow ourselves to just sit in the chaos, sit in it to just figure out, well, what do I do next? What is this showing me? What is this teaching me? Like I had to do last week, as I just allowed myself to sit in bed and cry and let the emotion pass. Because, see, when we don't allow the emotion to bubble up, to unfold, we're repressing it. We're not even trying to face the shadow. Because once you let the emotion go, once the emotions flow, because once I cried, I was fine. Then I was able to think clearly. Then spirit started speaking. Then I was able to understand. Then I started having dreams about the number 48. Now spirit is speaking to me in the language that I understand. Because for me, dreaming, that is my spiritual gift. Spirit sends me a lot of messages, a lot of signs, a lot of truths come in my dreams. But if I didn't allow myself to feel that emotion, to feel what it was that I was resisting, because there was a lot, and that's just because I wasn't doing it on purpose. It's just that I had been so busy showing up for other people and working and promoting the book and preparing for speeches that I did not allow myself the emotional bandwidth to just sit still and deal with all the chaos of losing a brother-in-law, of ending a relationship, of stepping out, changing, moving around. And that's what this energy is showing us. Plans will shift, soulmates. So when life starts to life, when things don't go the way you want them to, when people start switching up on you, when they start shifting, because people will shift. A lot of people have shifted for me. I told you at the beginning of the live. I'm starting to see things about people I didn't see before. But that's a part of the great awakening. That's part of the reckoning moment. Because see, everybody's mask is coming down. So it gives us the opportunity to redirect our path, realign, and ask ourselves, am I resisting this shakeup that spirit is trying to get me to shake, to do, to change? Spirit trying to tell me I need to leave this relationship because it's holding me back? Is spirit telling me I need to leave this job because it's holding me back? Is spirit telling me I just need to start from scratch and just do the whole redo? Whatever the case may be, that's the thing about life. You always have the opportunity to begin again. I didn't know that 6 years ago. Because when I thought my world was ending, when my marriage was over, I couldn't see anything beyond that. And usually, when you're in the chaos, you can't see what's on the other side. You don't even know that there's an other side, but there is. So allow yourself to deal with it, sit with the chaos so that you can get through it. But if we don't heal what we feel, we'll continue to live in the chaos because guess what we try to do? We suppress it, we'll pretend, and then it shows up again until it sits you down. I have another friend who almost had, I think he had a mild stroke back in January. And then I talked to him a couple of weeks ago, and he said his blood pressure was high yet again. And I asked him why. He said because of the woman that he was with, his child's mother, when he saw her, his blood pressure instantly shot up through the roof. I said, what is that telling you? Is it really worth staying in this relationship? Are you going to lose your life because you've been with this woman since high school and y'all have a teenage son? Are you not worth more than that? You got to know you're worth more than that. We are worth more than holding on to people, places, and things when we only have this one life. And if it's not healthy for you, let it go. Let it go. And it's common sense, but it's not always easy to do, especially a relationship that you've been in, because it's hard to step outside your comfort zone. It's hard to move. It's hard to relocate. I get it. There's so many reasons not to change. There's a ton of reasons to stay the same and to stay in the comfort zone. But there's a ton of reasons and benefits of stepping outside of it too, especially if you're banging your head on the wall with people and situations that you know are more harmful than helpful. So, what part of you, soulmate, is craving authentic expression? What part of you is dying to be heard, that's ready to release and say the thing that needs to be said and felt? And where are you sacrificing your truth for security? I am guilty of that. I was doing that exact thing. I'm not going to tell this person how I really feel because I want to stay in this space. And I know the minute I tell this man how I really feel, this is going to create an argument because he can't handle the truth. I'm a truth speaker. I'm not a confrontational person. I'm a lover. And I fight spiritual battles. I don't fight with people, especially when it comes to words and things. And I'm definitely not going to fight physically. But what I do is I pray. I pray, I journal, and then I remove myself because I could no longer continue to sacrifice my truth. Because physically, it was hurting me. Physically, I started feeling pain in my left rotator cuff again. The last time I felt that pain was last December when I was dealing with a toxic situation that was draining me, and I couldn't see that the more I kept trying to fix them, the more I was overwhelming myself. Where have you been sacrificing your truth? And what changes do you need to make so you can start to feel free again, soulmates? At this point in my life, at 42, it's about freedom flexibility, fulfillment, love, joy, abundance, and peace. And if it doesn't fall in any of those buckets, then it's not for me. And I see that now and I'm okay with that. And if that means closing certain doors, letting certain people go, I'm fine with that because I still have me. And that's the most valuable thing ever. You have you, soulmates. And even though I felt like my family wasn't showing up for me, and I may still feel like that now, I still have me. I have me in spirit. So that's more than enough. Melissa says it's funny that I just wrote that it's time to leave them in the past and move on with your future. You have to. I feel so much better now that I stepped out of my comfort zone. So it wasn't so it was only comfortable inside my house once I left. I was in that toxic environment day after day doing things away from the toxicity. Feel so much better now. The people here are so much nicer. They go out of their way for you. And when they don't even know me, they're already helping me. That's what community means. Where do you live at, Melissa? I'm about to come move with you because that's exactly the type of world that I'm trying to co create. Thanks, Catherine. You take care, beautiful. Florida. I should have known. Don't threaten me with a good time. My best friend actually lives in Fort Lauderdale, and I might have to just come down there. But that's exactly what it is that we're lacking here. And I realize in this state of Illinois and in the Chicagoland area, we lack that. It's so low vibrational. That's why I've been itching. My soul has been calling from all year, really, for a shift. I'm ready to relocate. I'm ready to get out of this space. I'm over Illinois. I'm over the Midwest. I want more. I deserve more. There's a whole entire world out here I have yet to conquer. So let me prepare myself. And in fact, let me prepare me and my son because he'll be graduating from high school in May. And whatever he decides to do next, I'll support him. But if he wants to travel with his mother, I'll support that too. Oh, there's plenty of phony, insecure, toxic people here. You have to weed them out. That's true. They're everywhere. They are because it's not, and I don't want to say that they don't mean people. I don't believe anybody means to be toxic or go out of their way to try to be that way. I just think they don't know any better. Because if you've only been conditioned and if you only grew up around certain people in a certain environment and that's all you've seen, then that's all you know. I had to explain to my ex, I said, you realize that you've never had a healthy, loving relationship with a woman in your life. The women that should have showed up for you didn't show up for you the way that you needed them to. So now you don't know how to love in a romantic relationship. You want to fight, you want to argue. I'm not here for that. Find somebody else to do it. And if that's the kind of relationship you want, then I wish you nothing but the best. But I just won't do that because I'm just not. I didn't grow up in a household with parents that did that. True enough, I might not have gotten everything I needed from my parents, but I didn't see that. I never seen them argue. I never seen them fight. They probably held a lot of stuff in silence, which is where I got it from. But I couldn't deal with that. And until I told him that, he had no idea. He's like, "Yeah, you're right. Since you've been begging for your sister to show up for you, she won't show up for you. Then you keep trying to run to an ex that won't show up for you. What does that tell you about you? Are you okay with this? Are you happy living like this? Ask yourself, soulmates. You got to start with being real with yourself. Am I happy with this? Am I happy with the dynamics? Because we can argue and be unhappy by ourselves. So why would I step into a situation that's going to make me feel even more unhappy? See, that's what this energy is about to show us. This transit is like the emotional equivalent to a power surge, but it's not going to destroy us. Not without purpose, but it's actually an invitation to clear space for something better. It's really a time for innovation. So, for many of you, this may even change how you express love or even how you show up in work because it's not about control. Once again, we're not losing control, we're releasing what was controlling us, the things that was controlling us, because believe it or not, we inadvertently give our power away. We allow certain things, certain people to control us. So theme number 6, is the mirror of healing and the body's truth. And I've already kind of talked about this. But on November 14th, Mars is going to square Saturn. And whenever planets are squaring, again, that's tension. This is where two energies are pushing against each other. It's like it's energy, right? What happens if we all take science? They're repelling. They won't work. So they're pushing against each other. Eventually, something is going to break. So Mars is the planet full of willpower. Remember, it's that fiery planet, but it's meeting Saturn, and Saturn is all about structure, discipline, stability. Saturn wants you to make sure you get it right. So you might hit a wall, soulmates, emotionally, maybe physically or financially, but it doesn't mean you fail. See, this is spirit saying it's time to build a foundation. So that transit is going to ask you to slow down. Take care of your bodies. Take care of you. Take care of the sacred body that you have. It's so precious. Your body is the archive of every story you've ever survived. So if you're ignoring your needs, or you're trying to push past your limits, or you're canceling the doctor's appointments, or you're feeling that ache in your chest or your belly or wherever it is and you're ignoring it, Saturn is going to call you out. You can't keep running from it. Nor can you keep trying to heal everybody while your own nervous system is bankrupt. Again, we can't pour from an empty cup. So how can I show up for the family? How can I prepare for Thanksgiving when physically I'm exhausted? I'm overwhelmed for those that celebrate holidays. How are you going to show up for the holidays when you are already stressed out? Your nervous system is already saying, I've had enough. So allow yourself to use this energy to reestablish routines that restore you, that fill you up physically. Move your bodies. Go outside, walk, eat real food, and rest without feeling guilty. Rest. Turn off the phone. I have to start turning my phone on airplane mode because I said I need some peace and quiet. It's too much noise, it's too much chaos. And peace be still. Because there's something spirit is trying to get me to see, but we can't hear when there's so much noise and chaos. And we're constantly looking at the news and we're listening to the radio and we're listening to everything else except our spirit, our souls. So embody this feeling. Allow your bodies to feel nourished, most importantly. See, we're healing inside out, soulmates. And theme number 7 is renewal and spiritual rebirth because we have a new moon in Scorpio on November 19th. So we'll have the sun as well as the new moon in Scorpio. And that will be almost towards the end of Scorpio. And with every new moon, we get the opportunity to set new seeds. And this particular new moon is going to be one of the most transformative lunations of this entire year because this is going to be the cosmic invitation to finally shed all them old versions of us, to let the old skins go and reclaim our power back. So even though Scorpio represents death and rebirth and regeneration, that means mentally, spiritually, emotionally. So that's the end of emotional numbness, the end of carrying everybody else's emotional weight, carrying what's not yours. It could even be their physical weight. So I want to invite you, soulmates, and I'll probably do another live before then, but I want you to start to think about those intentions for what you want to plant for the Scorpio new moon. In fact, I am going to do a live. Give yourself the opportunity to do an emotional release. Maybe you need to forgive yourself and others. Learn how to set some new boundaries rooted in peace. Because, see, spiritually, this new moon is our permission to start over. We get to start from scratch. Not because we failed anything, but because we finally understand. See, if you've been healing and going through the lessons with me, like I've been educating us on all year, and here we are in the 11th month of this year, then you're seeing now what mistakes you made, what choices you made that were not in your best interest. See, none of us are the same that we were at the beginning of this year. None of us are the same people that we were on 1/1. None of us are the same that we were a month ago. I know I'm not the same. I never would imagine I would have been strong enough to endure all that I've endured this year, but I have. And yeah, I shed some tears, but I didn't lose me. So allow yourself to be the phoenix that rises from the ashes because that's what a Scorpio does. None of us are broken. You're not a person who's broken. You're a person that has risen, and honor and respect that. And then theme number 8 is illumination and alignment. So we have a Sun Kazemi Mercury, a Sun and Mercury Kazemi on November 17th. And so when I say Kazemi, this is when the planet is basically sitting in the heart of the sun. So now we'll have this planet sitting right in the Scorpio sun. Again, it's illuminating. It's a spirit basically turning the light on inside of our souls, inside of our heads. And because Mercury is there, it's all about communications, it's about thoughts. Don't be surprised if suddenly you have like a realization, almost kind of like an aha moment, where something that may have felt confusing all month, or maybe could have been all year for you, finally makes sense. Maybe there's a conversation that you'll have. Maybe you'll have some closure about a situation, or maybe you'll have a creative idea. You'll find some clarity for what it is that maybe you have been missing. Because remember, we have all been getting prepared for what's next. This is a 9 year. So 2026 begins a whole new 1 year. We get to start over again. But think about the last 9 years. Where have we been? Where were you 9 years ago, 8 years ago? This is the opportunity. And don't be surprised if you start to notice themes from the beginning of this year show up at the end of the year. Because again, spirit is trying to get you to see. And the thing I've learned about astrology and in doing this work is that things happen in patterns. Life is not always going to be difficult. But if you learn how to work with the energy, and if you learn astrology like I've learned it, then you know what this energy is preparing us for. And then you know what's coming next. So this is the opportunity to be very strategic about that when you are setting your new moon intention. And actually speak from your heart. Speak your truth. If you're a journaler like me, write it down. If you just want to verbalize it or maybe just put it in a meditation, you can do that too. But speak from your heart, speak your truth. Don't speak from a place of hurt. Because remember, words carry energy, soulmates. So when you speak life into yourself, into your healing, into your body, it responds back. And last but not least, theme number 9 is the mystic heart or the connection beyond the veil. See, Venus is trining Neptune on November 20th. That's the day before my son's birthday. And again, Venus is all about love and values. Neptune is about spirit and compassion. So when they form a trine, love turns into healing energy. Love is healing. If I haven't told you anything, one thing I've told you for sure, soulmates, is that love is healing, healing through love, because it's a beautiful thing. So this is a beautiful time to connect with people that maybe we've lost on the other side. Honor your ancestors, honor your loved ones. Grieve them if you like to go visit them, if they have a plot or whatever the case may be, go visit them or just honor them emotionally. I know for me, my mom transitioned November 21st, 1999. My son was born November 21st, 2007. And every year I would go to the cemetery and visit her. But I stopped doing that as I got older because I started realizing that she's already with me. I already carry her on my heart all day long. I never not have my mother with me. But when I realized that I can connect with her anytime, I no longer felt the need to do that. Because as a teenager and as a young adult, I always thought I had to go visit her at the cemetery to feel closer to her. But I don't. Now that I've done the spiritual work and I've done the work that I do, I can connect with my mother. I can even ask her to come to me in my dream. So soulmates, if you have people on the other side, connect with them. Don't be afraid because they're there. They just waiting on you to invite them in. They're not going to do anything that you don't allow them to do. And I'm not talking about Halloween ghosts and goblins. No, I mean actually connecting to our ancestors, our spirit guides, our loved ones, because they're still there. I think about Uncle Phil. He's still here. He's still very much showing up. Even my husband said I can still feel him. I can just see him standing here watching us because they are still there. So allow yourself the opportunity to release that, honor them, accept them, grieve if you need to. Or if you have been grieving, you might feel their presence stronger. Maybe you'll have a dream about them. Maybe you'll hear one of their songs on the radio. Pay attention to the music, soulmates. Sometimes they will. They will connect with you through music. I know a couple of years ago when I first had my spiritual awakening, I was like, I was so in awe with everything that I learned about connecting with the other side that I kept every day. I would meditate and I would do a test, so to speak. So I would meditate and then I would speak. For example, I spoke to my dad and I said, okay, dad, if you are here and if you are really connected with me, then I want you to show me a sign, give me a symbol so I can know that it's you. And in the middle of the meditation, basketball came to mind. He likes sports. So I said, okay, that's the symbol. And if I see this basketball, okay. And that was it. I set that intention in my morning meditation. And I think maybe 3 o'clock that afternoon, I was looking at TV and somebody was on there playing basketball. And I just kept seeing a bunch of balls. And I said, wow, okay. That was the first time. Then I did it again in February of 2024. I said, show me a symbol, heart, a heart. If I see a heart, I'm gonna know that that's my spirit guides. They're showing up for me. They're here. They're letting me know because I can connect with them, and they're showing me that they're listening. Set that intention before I got up that morning. Mind you, it's February. I'm not even realizing that it's February because it is February, but it's almost the end. But it was right after Valentine's Day. So what do I see? I see heart. I didn't even think about it. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Once again, it's happening. So soulmates, if that's something that you are curious about, connect with your loved ones. Ask them to send you a sign. Ask them to play the song on the radio. My mother loves the Spinners. And every time I hear that song, Mighty Love, I'm like, this lady, I know it's her. I just know it because this was her song and it always makes me feel her presence in that moment. So allow yourself to celebrate them. When I think about my brother in love, like I just realized that grief teaches you love never dies because it doesn't die. It just changes form. See, this is what we have to learn this about love in this carnation. Right now, love just transforms. I can break up with somebody and I can still love them, but we are not the same. I can have an ex-husband or a husband and we will never be man and wife ever again. But the friendship that we have been able to build as a result is priceless because love never dies. The love that I have for him and his siblings and his mom and his entire family, it never dies. And that's what we have to be reminded of. But if you can't find that love for yourself, then how will you know to love on somebody else like that? We try to put so much. Honestly, soulmates, we put so much emphasis on the wrong currency. We think money is the value. We think money is the key. Love is the real currency. Because if you can love people unconditionally and show up with love, in love, regardless of what the world tries to do to you, tries to tell you, tries to change you, tries to knock you down, and you can still show up in love with love, that's the real currency. That's the real win. That's the way spirit really designed us to live, to show love, live in love, and not try to put a value on it, not try to make people feel like they got to work for love. You don't, because we all have it. It's priceless. If only we can utilize it for good instead of evil. If only we can stop playing with people's love as if it was a tool, it wouldn't be so toxic. It wouldn't have to be so heavy. We wouldn't be so afraid to love again. We wouldn't be so afraid to fully open up. We wouldn't be afraid to embrace our vulnerability. We wouldn't have a problem saying, I love you. What does my tattoo say? This one, I'm assuming, is what you're talking about. Ha ha ha. Good question, Joe. So I thought it meant love. But come to find out, it means show. So, joke's on me. That's what happens when you 20 something and you just go into a tattoo shop and say, give me that out the book. You realize it's not what it's supposed to be. Thank you, Sandy. I appreciate that. I'm very animated. I cannot hide. Like, if looks to kill was a person, that would be me. So thank you for saying that. But going back to what I was saying about grief, though, grief teaches you that love never dies, it changes form. So if you're in a period of grief, and if you're like me, and if you are one of my soulmates that suffers with seasonal affective disorder, where all my soulmates had that deal with sad, because now the nights are longer, days are shorter. And I'm doing the best that I can. So far, so good. Hey, Lisa. Hey, twin. I get it. You're not alone. This is why I keep myself on a strict routine. I keep waking myself up every day at the same time because I can't allow the sad to overwhelm me because it's easy to get there. So allow yourself the opportunity to do what you need to do for you. But remember you first and foremost. And think about the fact that love is healing. This aspect that you're going to experience on November 20th is going to remind you that you're never really alone, especially in your healing. I know it feels like we're alone. And I even had to remind myself of that because there were some days when I was feeling extremely lonely. I'm like, I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone. Even if I don't see anybody else here, I know I'm not by myself. See, someone in your spirit is rooting for your peace on the other side. And I have several people on the other side rooting for me. Because I come from a huge family and I've lost a lot of people already in a very short amount of time. From the time I was 16, losing my mother, I've just been losing a lot of people close to me. So I have a lot of people rooting for my peace on the other side. And I'll be damned if I disappoint them. So, soulmates, if you're feeling called, light a candle tonight for your loved ones on the other side. Write a letter to somebody that you miss, or simply just say thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. Just thank you. That's what love looks like. That's how we keep the energy flowing through acknowledgement and love, gratitude and acceptance and appreciation. So now that we have moved through all 9 themes, which if you were here at the beginning, you'll realize that each one is just an invitation to heal, a layer that you may not even realize you was ready to release. You're welcome, Teresa. Thank you, beautiful. From truth to transparency to emotional maturity, spiritual rebirth, mystic connection, November is all about change, conscious evolution. Evolution, soulmates, evolving, going through the spiritual awakening process intentionally. This is what I help people with. Because when you go through their process, it can be isolating because not a lot of people have experienced it and it doesn't look the same. So I'm grateful for people like Tammy because Tammy is one of those people that I reach out to. And she and I may not talk every day, but when we talk, it's always on time because she's gone through the things that I'm going through. In fact, she did it a year ahead of me. So where I'm at now, she was here. And I reached out to her and I said, at what point did you know, like, I just need to leave this country? What point did you decide I'm just going to go to Africa? Because that's what my soul has been calling me to do. Leave this country. Leave this country. More and more, it's just been screaming that at me. And I'm like, okay, let me wait. Let me prepare because my son is still here. I want to make sure I do this intentionally. But I can't ignore my soul. So if there's something that is bubbling up, soulmates, even if you can't make the conscious choice today to make the shift, still honor it. Write it down. Don't ignore what your soul is trying to reveal to you because that's where your truth lies. You can just feel it. If you constantly keep hearing it and if you constantly keep getting the thought, then that means your soul wants it. Your soul is yearning for it. It's not just a one off thought. No, it's a true deep feeling on the inside of you that won't rest until you get what it is that you're looking for. Go on a cruise. I was feeling the same thing and about to go on my first solo cruise. April, that sounds so fun, Queen. Enjoy. Where are you going? I love being in the water. My son and I went on a cruise last March 2024. It was so beautiful. I made sure I got a room with a balcony because I knew I wanted to just be out on the balcony in the water. Mexico, enjoy, Queen. You deserve it. You deserve it. So before we wrap up, soulmates, are there any questions, any comments, anything that you want me to share or reflect or review with you? And for those that just joined again, please follow me on Insight Timer if you haven't already. Also follow me outside of here. I do also have a YouTube channel where I do go live, so you'll be able to see this replay if you need to review it, because I did go into all of the themes for November and what this energy is calling for, because it is calling for a shift. And for those that have been following me, you know I do this regularly. I try to do it as often as possible to give you an idea of what to experience, of what life is about to reveal to us, so that when it shows up, soulmates, you'll say, ah, this is what was getting ready to happen. This is the energy that Keana was talking about on that live. Now I see what it is. Because for me, that's what it's been like for the last 2 years since I've been studying astrology, since I've been intentional about healing, teaching people how to heal with astrology. I've been seeing these things. When I understand what the planets, what the energy is showing, is revealing, I don't resist it anymore. I just go with the flow. And for many people, they're like, well, what is astrology? It's science, soulmate. I know there's been a lot of controversy around astrology, especially in the religious community. But I just have to let those know that those that are religious, the three wise men were astrologers. So astrology has been around since the beginning of time. This is nothing new. And there's nothing blasphemous or devilish about it. Because if you think about it, all we had was the sun and the moon, stars, the planets. So how did they tell time back then? They didn't have clocks. They used the sun and the moon to determine that. So why is it now we shun astrology, for those that do shun it or those that think it's devil worshiping or whatever the craziness? I've heard all kind of madness. But really what it does is it holds a mirror up to us to get us to see what the patterns are, what the ebbs and flows are. Sandy, you a Taurus? I'm a Scorpio, beautiful. My birthday was last Tuesday. I'm a Scorpio. So I like to get deep. I like to go below the surface. And I like to talk about things that we don't want to talk about, which is why I wrote the book, Healing Out Loud, because I talked about things that the average American would be so ashamed of. But not me. Thank you, Sandy. I have nothing to be ashamed of. I survived and I am a loving being of God. So let me celebrate that as much as I can, and let me help remind somebody else that they are too. So before we close out, soulmates, I want to thank you again for being here. And I want us to take one more deep breath together. And I want us to just feel our bodies right now, anchored here, because we are alive, we are present, and we're grateful. I know I'm grateful. Thank you, Kay. I always want to create a beautiful space. This is what I do. This is what I do. Hold beautiful spaces for us to heal, to feel seen, to feel understood. All week, for the last 2 weeks, people have been coming to me, sharing all types of stories, all types of things they've been doing and experiencing. And I know why. I know why they do it. It's because I create a safe space. I have an energy, a light within me that says it's okay to be open and honest with me. And I've been like that since I was a child. I can remember being in elementary school and people would always come and talk to me about their problems. I didn't understand then. And then even as an adult, I used to be like, why will people keep talking to me? I used to think it was a curse. But now I see it's my gift. It's my blessing. So let me embrace that. So I'm grateful that I was able to create a safe and beautiful space for UK. And thank you, Soulmates, for those that have donated. Continue to show up. And if you can't donate today, I'm sure you'll do when you're able to. I get it. Things are tight for a lot of us. But if you're able to, then I encourage you to give. The more we give, the more we receive. And one thing about me, I am a giver. I will give. Give if I'm in a position to give, then I will give because I'm also a receiver, though I don't always allow myself to receive. So now I have to learn how to balance the both. Thank you, Sandy. I'm so happy I exist. And thank you for saying that. I get reminded a lot of that. People always say, I'm glad you're here. And I'm glad you're here. And I'm so happy to be here. So thank you, soulmates. Again, if this spoke to you, continue to share this, invite people. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all of those. Um, Subscribe to my newsletter if you like to, Soulmates. I'm actually offering my emotional exit workbook free for those that subscribe to my newsletter because this is what I do, help us heal our emotions, or rather, not heal our emotions, but learn how to deal with our emotions, not run from our emotions, and not allow our emotions to run us. Learn how to live in love and light. And most importantly, understand yourself so that when your triggers are being exposed, you don't lash out at people that you love and care about, or take it out on yourself because you should love and care about you first and foremost. So this is what I walk us through. So if you are interested, soulmates, in getting that, you can find that on my website. And thank you all that showed up. Thank you for all the hearts. Thank you for all the love, all the support. Keep showing up to all 140 of my meditators. I think that's how many I see. Because you all have no idea how much you showing up today does a lot for me energetically. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. I would just be talking to myself. And as much as I love to do that, that's not going to help save lives. So, yes, thank you for being here, soulmates. Thank you for showing up for yourself first and foremost, because the work is for you. Every share, comment, donation helps me continue to create and hold room like this for collective healing. So, you can reach out through my link in my bio. You can always feel free to message me on Insight Timer. And please know that your support is just not a gesture. It's actually a seed that helps this movement grow. So thank you so much, soulmates. And I am going to be doing more content on my YouTube channel. So please do subscribe if you haven't already done so. And for those that are interested, this is my book, Healing Out Loud: Reclaim Your Voice, Power, and Purpose. Because that's exactly what happened once I started healing out loud, once I started speaking my truth. And you can find it on my website as well as Amazon if you prefer to do that. And if you believe in this mission and this message and the movement that I'm creating, then please continue to support the Healing Out Loud movement because it is a movement. So thank you so much, soulmates, again for being here. And let's see, who do I have here? Thank you again, Rose and Margaret in London and Swiss. Kara in London. Thank you. I love to see all my soulmates from all over. Sebi, it's so good to see you. Thank you for being here. And Kelsey, thank you, Joe. You are in Noblesville, Indiana. You're not too far from me. And Tracy in Manchester. Hi, Sheila. Good to see you again, Chris. And I think it's I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, but thank you for joining. Thank you, Anne and Britt and Eve and Jeffrey, Honorable High Priest of the Order of Webbles. Okay, nice. Thank you. And thank you, Susan. Thank all of my soulmates for showing up here. Please do subscribe. I do plan on going live again, probably next week. I want to try to go live weekly, but things are filling up fast. People are reaching out, scheduling appointments, wanting to actually finally start doing the work to heal. And I'm grateful. And thank you, Solomon, for showing up. How are you, my friend? Good to see you. Hope you and mom are doing well. Hey, Felicia. I just saw your bubble. And is it George? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. In Germany. Thank you for being here. And who else do I see here? Noni. Thank you for being here, Queen. And Miss Dana, New Jersey. You all are wonderful soulmates. I love you guys. Keep shining, keep bright, keep being bright. Don't dim your life for anybody. Anybody, soulmates. I don't care what the world tries to tell you, what you think you don't have, what you think you need more of. You are enough just the way you are, just the way Spirit created you. And there's not enough money in the world that's going to change that because who you are on a soul deep level, it does it's not affected by how much money you have or how much money you make or how much you don't have or your political status or your race. Because if you are a loving, sovereign being of the divine, then you will live that day in and day out and continue showing up, soulmates. Oh, thank you, Lisa. I needed to have you here to hear that. So until next time, soulmates, you all have a good rest of your Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on where you are. And I will see you next time. Night, night, soulmates. I love you guys.